set up the lab because we're very efficient. We each brought our own lab, so we had to make sure that everything was working. So I hope you had a really good. Hi. Is it better? Oh wow. So presenting with the mic is new for me, so please bear with me because I'm kind of active with my hands. So I'll try. Let me know if you cannot hear anything I say, and I will try to slow down, be better pronunciation, and eat the mic, basically. So welcome to our session. Karsten and I will talk a bit about NetScaler MAS and how we implemented it at one of our customers, and basically the experience we had there. So I think, I'm not sure how many are new to E2E today, so maybe we can show. Cool, then very welcome, very good that you're sticking out even in the third day and being up and early and looking really bright, so welcome. For those of you who do not know me yet, my name is Esther Bartel. I've been a CTP for a couple of years, been very active in the community, sharing my experience with you guys, mainly focused on NetScaler and NetScaler automation for the last couple of years. Before that I did a lot of XenApps and desktop configurations and implementations. And one of the things I also did was I became an MVP as well. Let's hope that continues after July. And I started together with the other female CTP women in the program, a Women in Technology Mentorship program, to make sure that we reach out to all the other women in tech out there and make sure that we can basically share our experiences, share some more stories from the field, and grow in numbers, basically. So I would like to personally thank Avanite and Control Up for giving us the opportunity to even get more women to E2E from now on with the major discount that we're getting. So thank you for that. And let's get on with the presentation. We have a lot we want to share with you. We have little time. So if it feels like we're rushing, that's because we basically want to get to the good stuff, because we
basically rushing.
I am rushing, yes. But I want to get to the good stuff and show you the demos and all the fun stuff that we've been working on. So, Karsten, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I try to. Okay. If it is okay for you, I will not use the mic.
You will not eat it?
Yeah, because I have a presenter in my hand and I want to type a lot of stuff and show you some demos. So hopefully it will be okay. You can all understand me? Yeah, awesome. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Karsten Bruns. I'm a CTP for a few months, not years. So I'm really new to this program and really happy to join it. And I'm also a networking special interest group leader at the CUGC. So if you have any questions about networking topics in Citrix, just go there and ask some questions. We will answer them, hopefully, most of the time. And we will speed a little bit up. So that's all you have to know about me, I think. What we did to show you what we've done with our customers. So we work on the same project and having a lot of fun with automation stuff, because the customer is using 170 NetScalers, not vServe or NetScaler, so really a huge environment. And they said, it is not a good idea to manage all things in a normal manual way, for two reasons. One is security, and the other one is it's not handled, not really good to handle. So this is the right sentence. And so we started in this project to automate everything. And this is what we want to show you right now. So we will start with networking, and then we will go to applications, and afterwards Esther will present some stuff about MAS automation.
So who of you is already familiar with NetScaler MAS? Imagine that's good. So for some of you it will be like new. So Karsten will walk you through the different screens and the configurations. But what we focused on, as he explained, is mostly the management capabilities of MAS. finding ways to provide you one centralized system, or the administrators one centralized system to control all their NetScaler infrastructure.
Thanks, Esther. Just before we start with our presentation, or with our demo stuff, I will just show a few features of NetScaler MAS. So you can manage all your licenses from the MAS system. Do you know about licensing stuff in MAS? Some of you? Okay, so you have two different ways to license your NetScaler. You can use the NetScaler license file and put it on the NetScaler. Or otherwise you can use a license server, which is brand new. And the system is your license server in this way. So, and you can use check-in, check-out licenses. So you use your NetScaler license file and put it just in the MAS system. Therefore you have to configure the host name of the license file to your MAS system, not to the NetScaler. And you can connect your NetScaler to the MAS system and say, use this license. And you can also use licenses for bandwidth. So you will just buy a bunch of bandwidth and say, okay, I have 200 NetScalers, and the first one will get 10 Mbit, and the second one 100, and then 1,000, and one is going for 8,000, something like this. So these two opportunities will have. Sorry. One other important thing you can manage with the MAS system is all of your certificates. I think it's a very good way to see all of your certificates which are running on the NetScalers. So if you have a lot of certificates in your NetScaler, you will have a dashboard which is showing, okay, these certificates are ending up in 30 days, in 90 days, and you have this key length, and etc. I will show it later on in the demo, just to get an impression. So the next topic is, one slide back, sorry. There's one important thing you have to know about the MAS system. It is in 3 different sections. So we have networking with applications, and we have the system settings. System settings are all for the MAS system, and we have networking, which is the base setting for your NetScaler environment, and we have the applications, which are your vServers and configurations which are running on the NetScaler. So this is very important to know, because we want to go to networking, then to application, and yeah, just leave out the system settings. They are not really interesting. So networking. In networking you can manage all your NetScalers, you can view and all the configurations, you can add your NetScaler, make some configuration jobs. Who of you know something about configuration jobs? Just 2.
So some of you have experience with Command Center, because the configuration jobs is basically the same as the tasks that you were able to script on Command Center.
So in configuration jobs you have some built-in tasks, which are like, you can build up your HA configuration, you can update NetScaler, you can update multiple NetScalers, you can run it in parallel, you can run it in sequence like you want to do it. You can schedule your updates and the HA configuration as well, which makes no sense, but you can do it. So these are the maintenance tasks you can use by default, which comes with your NetScaler MAS system. And you have also some configuration jobs you can write on your own. So these are mostly, you can see it right here, SSH commands, and just run it on your NetScaler, which is really good because you can use variables in it. So after you configure all your commands, you will have a second screen, and there you can define which variables you want to use, which comes up to configuration templates. You can save all the configuration you've done and use them again for different NetScalers, and then the variables makes more sense. So let's take a look. I'm going really fast through the slides because I want to show it to you. I think it's more or less better to see it on the screen.
I basically gave Garson a hard time at Synergy, that it took him quite some time to go through the screens. So if it feels like he's speeding up, I think he's doing that to show me that he can be fast too.
I promised her to be fast.
So just bear with him, okay?
If I'm too fast, just say, oh, I have a question and can you repeat it? Just
Sometimes fast is good.
Ah, okay.
So this is basically the networking part of your NetScaler MAS system. I connected to it. My lab is running over there. It has 6 NetScalers, 1 MAS system. And if you want to add more NetScalers, you can just click on add and really fast. Type in some IP addresses like this. And click on OK. You can also use a CSV file if you want. And the MAS system will check all IP addresses I've typed in. So, and will add them to the MAS system. It's really easy, and you can do it for a bunch of NetScalers.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yes.
SNMP trap destination it says. So the NetScaler is a trap destination?
No.
Okay.
The MAS system is a trap destination. So the MAS system will also get all the SNMP information and also the syslog information.
Sending it to the NetScaler.
Yeah. So the NetScaler will send the information to the MAS system. Therefore,
If you have several HT pair, you will have to add each NetScaler, or you have the first one.
So yeah, you have only to add the primary one if you are running MAS system against existing H8 pairs. So in my case, we have no H8 pairs. This is what I want to show you. Good questions.
You can import a bundle of NetScaler if the credentials are the same for the NetScaler.
Well, what you can do is what you saw with
There's
the
a
drop-down box.
profile.
It said profile, and the profile settings is your username password that MAS is using to connect.
Multiple in the profile, you can define multiple credentials.
No, just one. So you have to use like multiple profiles if you have different credentials to your NetScalers. So that would allow you to do like separate. You have to enter them separately in batches.
And CSV.
Or with the CSV, you can specify it.
And you can use the Active Directory integration, Active Directory account to connect to the NetScaler.
Not yet.
Okay. It should be easier.
Yes, that is true.
That's true. So, but we are stuck at H8 pairs. So I want to show how to create a H8 pair. So it's really easy. Just click on configuration jobs, and there you will find maintenance jobs, which are the built-in tasks you can use. You click on create job, and then you can say, okay, I want to upgrade, or otherwise you can create an H8 pair, which is really easy. And then just search for your primary machine and for the secondary machine. You can say right now or later, and finish. That's all. Just create a H8 pair.
That will just blow away the config on the secondary, right? With no warnings or...
No warnings whatsoever.
No warnings at all. So,
Don't click the wrong one as primary. So
Yeah, you have to be a bit careful when,
Yeah.
when you're just playing around with the features. That is true.
Click on create job.
yes, of course.
Because the term is configure HPR. I mean, it's not a configuration, it's just creation of the
It's just the creation.
So the term
Yeah.
is,
Yeah, the term is a bit off because normally with an HA pair, if you create one and you have configurational
which is
options
the configuration.
to do like which VLAN I'm going to use for the synchronization or the HA heartbeat. These are not integrated in this job. So it's just a basic job to send the app node command.
I don't know for now.
And it will use like the command line interface.
Yeah, so and as you can see now we have got a HA pair running. So we changed from 6 PBXs to 5. So I talked about licenses, and I want to show you some about the licenses before we start. So I imported some of my licenses to the MAS system, so that I have different licenses up and running. And if you go to PPX licenses, you can see, okay, a lot of my NetScalers are using PPX 1000. And if you want to change it because the users are crying it's all too slow and we have no enough bandwidth, you just can go through the NetScaler wizard right here and say, okay, we want to use PPX 3000 for this one. And click on update. What happened? It will apply the license and it will immediately restart your NetScaler without any warning. So just don't do it in production.
I think we should add some extra pop-ups, you know, there.
Yeah. Another question?
Can you see when that is necessary, so when the NetScaler is stressed?
Kind of. You can use the reports in the MAS system. So you can just go through the PPX system and say, okay, select, and then you can go through all the reports and networking reports, which are, I think they build them up a little bit more for 12.1. So in 12.1 you will have more features, but I did not update my lab right now because it's working.
No alerts, nothing like that.
But you can see it in MAS, yes.
But not alerts.
Depending on the alert, you can create your own alerts depending on some actions you get or some informations you get. So yeah.
And you can set thresholds for your alerts, basically for on bandwidth or CPU or.
Yeah, and there's an IP traps you just can set and you can configure notifications in here as well. So they set down SMS or email.
Yeah, okay.
There's no stress notification, hey, this is going wrong.
Two licenses.
Yeah. Can you quickly explain what optimum allocation setting means for?
No.
Okay.
Fuck off. To be honest, no. So I've never seen something else like optimum. So I don't know.
Yeah.
If you remove the license from the
No, I think it's probably a percentage of the total license and consumes.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know too. This is why I asked you the question.
We'll get back to you on that one.
Yeah.
We'll ask.
Yeah, because it's really they get something here, so it means something.
So now we have got a license NetScaler in an H8 pair, and we changed the license and another one was restarting. Afterwards, we want to configure the baseline of our NetScaler. So all the hardening stuff, all the rewriting stuff you are doing on the NetScalers should be done through a configuration template. I can show you several configuration jobs and templates we can use. So just let me click on this.
Yeah, basically what we figured out during our project is that Citrix now basically offers you two different ways to push configurations to the NetScaler. On one side you have your configuration jobs, which use the CLI commands and SSH to communicate with the NetScaler. And what Carsten will show next is that you also have something that they call stylebooks that allows you to use the Nitro or the REST API interface to push your configuration to the NetScalers as well.
Not with this one, the variables and not with the other one.
You got? I'm sorry.
Some variables, but you can change.
Yes, we'll talk about stylebooks later. Basically, what Citrix kind of recommends is that you use configuration job for your basic or global settings on your NetScalers, because the stylebooks are really focused on application settings. So configuring like the feed servers, your services, your policy settings, stuff like that. So that's one of the reasons why we took that advice from Citrix and are now using configuration jobs to basically push the basic settings to set up all the NetScaler configurations for SSL and ciphers, and then we'll switch to stylebooks for more management support.
Thanks a lot. So I don't need any slides. I can just skip them. Okay, if you want to create a new configuration job, just click on Create Job. type in name. This. And then by drag and drop, you can just use your template. You can correct it if you want. And afterwards, just scroll down. Select which instances you want to use. So we can use all, or just a few of them. So maybe select next, and then you can use variables in with an input file, which you already created, or you can just type them in.
And the difference that you can make is that with the CSV file, you can specify different settings for the different NetScaler instances. While if you're using the interface to just add, it will be the same values for all NetScalers.
Same part name.
Yeah, same host name for instance, yes, indeed.
So I try to use mine, which I created previous, and click on next. I will get a preview, what the MAS system will do, and I can check it. And so I checked it.
Wow.
Yeah.
All of it. So here is a question about what is going on with the HA. So it's just building up a basic HA pair, and you have to configure it in a configuration job if you want to have failsafe mode on, or if you want to have synchronization VLAN or something like this. So you have to configure it on this point, at this point. So click on next. So he's asking what should I do if I have any errors.
Continue.
Yes, of course. Every time.
No, stop.
So, and I can also say, okay, I want this configuration right now, or I want it later on. So if I'm sure that it is working, so I tested it in test environment and I will do it in production, I can run it in the night. So,
And charge for the night. That's a good idea.
yeah. Okay, and then you can say execute in parallel or in sequence. So if you want to have it at the same time or in sequence. And click on finish. That's it. Base configuration of NetScaler done?
No.
No.
No?
No.
No?
Look at the top.
That always happens with the live demos, right?
Yeah.
No, when you click on next.
Next.
Next. And you need to specify specify user credential for this job custom. No?
Yeah, I have some problems in my configurations of concerning the variables. So he's thinking that there's a variable which is not set, but that variable does not exist. So
That's interesting. So I don't want to push you, Karsten.
yeah, but I know. So just cancel this and say, okay,
I'll show you later on that we can make it work.
okay.
We will review the recorder.
Okay, now we have done all of our configuration. We have created a configuration job. Let's say, and we want to create our applications which are running on the NetScaler. Therefore, we have applications, which is we have a dashboard with all of our applications. If you have no applications, your dashboard will be empty. I will show it to you. We have stylebooks, as I explained. Stylebooks are more or less the configuration of your load balancing vServer, of your configuration of your content switching vServers, and stuff like this.
Question, you cannot do everything with stylebooks. You need to
As long as you leave my lab.
you need to use both.
Yeah.
You cannot do everything with stylebooks.
No, stylebooks right now are still limited.
Yeah. The features are.
Yes, Citrix has promised that because they do understand that stylebooks allow you a more dynamic way of managing your appliances, that they are going to invest heavily into developing the stylebooks even more. For those of you who haven't looked at the stylebooks yet, stylebooks allow you basically only to add new configurations to your NetScaler. But it doesn't give you right now functionality to check if a service is already there or not, and to be more intelligent with pushing the configurations.
Yeah, and there's one important thing to know. Stylebooks are using Nitro, not SSH commands. So if you have a firewall between your master system and your NetScaler, you need also port
But you can do the configuration with that one, right?
Yes, that's what I've shown in other presentations.
So we have some built-in stylebooks, and you can create your own stylebooks. So the built-in are very limited, and we decided to create our own stylebooks for our particular use cases, like creating load balancing services with existing backend servers and stuff like this. I will show it to you in the demo. Have to speed on. So just show you applications. You will see my dashboard is empty. And with our configurations, and there we have our stylebooks. And as you can see, we have the example stylebooks and built-in stylebooks, and also we go now. Yes. As you can see, we have 3 custom stylebooks created for Synergy. And if you click on Create Configuration, the stylebook template is running and showing up what you want to configure. So if you have an IP address like...
So while Carsten is typing in the information, stylebooks are basically consisting of 2 different sections. They're YAML files, so it does take a bit of getting used to the syntax to build them. But they basically have 2 sections. One section is called parameters, which allows you to create the fill-out form as Carsten is now using to get all the information, all the variables from your administrator to have him enter those. And the second part of the stylebook consists of components, which basically is your Nitro intelligence. So that allows you to basically define the configuration that you want to push to your NetScaler by defining the V servers, the service groups, the backend servers through Nitro statements, because it can use the Nitro engine.
Can I, is it possible to have it under, let's say, Git control, so as repository to stylebook?
Right now, they don't allow you to actively, because Git control would give you versioning as well.
Yes.
They don't, you can still basically, because there are YAML files that you develop, so you can keep them in Git for your own use, but they only allow you right now to import. So you have to manually import your stylebooks.
Okay. Just pull, not push.
Yes, correct.
Usually on your customer project, do you install on-premise MAS, or do you use a remote MAS from your apps to configure the NetScaler?
Right now we installed MAS on-prem, and then we started to build the stylebooks and the configuration jobs. And so we had to get MAS in place first, and then we could manage our NetScaler infrastructure.
You should be able to install your MAS in your own lab and configure remotely the NetScaler.
But you need to install
Oh, that would be
license.
very interesting, but then I would suggest that you would use the MAS services in Citrix Cloud, because if you are using an off-site MAS system, then cloud would be easier, because that still allows you to manage it all.
There is no...
I'm not going to go in a debate about licensing.
There is no difference between the cloud version and the on-premise version?
Right now there are some minor differences, because what Citrix now has as a strategy is to develop and push new features to cloud first, because they have like a bi-weekly cycle for updates, while the on-prem is on the quarterly release cycle. So it will take some time for the on-prem to get the new release and be able to use the new features.
Thanks for talking.
You're welcome.
So, in the time between, I type in a lot of information for our stylebook. So we have an application name which is pre-filled in our case, and you can see I get in some information, and we have some drop-down opportunities which are in place for our stylebooks. And you can set the persistency, and you can say, okay, these are my backend server and the ports I'm using, and the communication or the protocol is set. You can create your own monitors as well. And if you want, you can create more than one. I don't do it right now. So we have just a HTTP monitor, and you can select all the target instances. You have also a built-in load balancing style book, but there you can't configure the backend servers. You cannot say we have existing stuff, and also you can't choose the target instances.
Well, and we try to implement our own naming convention, so that allows us to create a single style book. And one of the things that Cephas does 10 minutes, that's my cue. Thank you. No, just I'm going to finish what I started. So that allows you to use your own naming convention in the components part of your style book. And Citrix also uses a different way of having separate style books for parameters and linking them together. But I found out that it's easier, especially from version control, to have all your configuration in one style book. You will have to reuse some parts in a new style book if you have similar parts in your fill-out form. But for me, it was more about version control and making sure that everything is in the same place.
You say you don't have variables in this, because obviously you created a specific configuration with specific IP addresses, right? So you generally wouldn't apply that to more than one NetScaler, because you can have conflicting
True.
IP addresses, right? So what is the advantage if you can only apply style book? Well, I know you can apply them to more, right? If they've got unique configuration in, what is the advantage of doing it in a style book as opposed to just configuring it on the...
Basically, the style book is my general template. And what I like about the style book is that it's dynamic. So if I want to have like 2 backend servers, or even join like 4 backend servers in one service group, I still can use the same style book, because the style book doesn't specify server 1, server 2, server 3. It just has a dynamic, it can be recursive.
It's also who's using it there, because at another assignment they want to assign the possibility to the DevOps teams to create their own vServers. They don't know a lot about it, so you only want to show them a basic template that they can fill out, and then everything is getting developed automatically.
Yeah, and with role-based access control, you can even give the DevOps only access to certain style books. So that would make it very powerful from centralized
So you
management.
can variabilize these, or you can't? In terms of...
Well, basically, all the boxes in your fill-out form, those are your variables. So you can play with that. And the components part, basically, you can even specify if the value is not entered, if there's no value entered, just skip this part. And you can also specify in I created a style book that configures multiple NetScalers, because I wanted to have the entire flow, because in this case the customer decided to do self-loading on one NetScaler, do application firewall on the next one, and load balancing on a different one. And I can combine them in one style book, because they have an option called target roles, where you can specify different sections in your components definition for that specific target role. So you can specify in your style book like 3 NetScalers, saying this one is for SSL offloading, this one is for firewall.
Are they immutable? So you configure it once, and then say you go back and change the template, you can then reapply it, and reapply the changes.
They are working on that, and the latest version allows you to basically upgrade your, what they call style books create configuration packs. And that's what Carsten is showing right now. And they are allowing you to upgrade the configuration pack to a newer version style book. So that can happen.
Yeah.
So do you want me to take over?
Yes, I've just created the configuration pack. So now we have got our load balancing server running on our replay system, which I can show you, but we are running out of time, so I will do it. One important thing is if you click on this little button, which is delete, it will delete the configuration from your NetScaler.
On the NetScaler.
On the NetScaler.
Yeah.
So if I click here, just showing up, okay, I will remove the configuration and say yes, and it's done. So the whole configuration I made is now removed.
I think it's a good feature, but I should mention a notification about it. The good thing is you have a clean config always, but
Okay.
Yeah, so
We're running
this is
out of time.
always linked to the instances you apply this runbook.
I'm sorry, I didn't get the question.
That's like a permanent link then from your runbook. to
Yeah,
your
basically the
instances.
configuration packs, because you can also update the configuration pack. For instance, add another backend server to it and just push OK, and it will
Recycle.
recalculate the changes that it needs to make, push that to the NetScaler. So I do think it's a powerful mechanism to allow administrators that have less experience with NetScalers to manage them. But it also has the backdrop that, for instance, if you are linking stylebooks together, if you remove one piece of the equation, then you will get errors because there is an engine that checks if the configuration is still consistent. So it's not a desired state configuration, but it does have some checks in it.
Can you, rather than deleting it, can you just say apply? So rather than deleting the whole object, can you just say, actually, I don't want to apply it to my NetScaler anymore. So remove the config from NetScaler, but leave it in MAS so I can edit it and reapply it again?
No, that's not an option yet, but we could definitely throw that in as a feature request. I like
The
that.
final just to delete it, it's gone, that's it, because I'm not going to use it again, so I'll
Yep.
reapply it or change it or...
Yeah, that allows us to build the configuration packs and then decide which one to push and not to push. I like that very much. Okay. So I wanted to tell you all about REST APIs, about how I'm using them to automate NetScaler configurations, all the information that we needed. That I'm using PowerShell for that. And I'm skipping really fast through all the slides to get to the cool stuff. So, because I need like 4 minutes for the demo. So I'm using JSON payloads, that's where the information, the data is. And what I discovered, thank God, Citrix also has Nitro documentation specifically for MAS. It is improving. The first version was not alphabetically ordered, which made it like a challenge to find the right commands and settings. But they are improving that.
I have done it in 12.1. It's really related to all the items now in MAS.
I know, I asked for
a
it.
lot better.
I asked for
Thank
it.
you.
You're very welcome. So, similar to automating NetScaler configurations directly through REST API, I can now also use MAS for that. So this is basically, I'm kind of using it like a mantra when I build my automation scripts, because I always need to provide the URI. I need to maybe even have some JSON payload to push data to the NetScaler, and then I can use the invoke REST method to make the call. Wow, I'm going faster than the slides. One of the added benefits of using MAS is that it allows to be an API proxy. This means that I can still basically use my NetScaler automated scripts, but I need to add one additional piece to the script to be able to use them, because I'm still using Nitro, specifying the same URI, only replacing the NetScaler IP with the NetScaler MAS IP, and adding an additional header. So MAS knows when it gets the call to redirect it to the NetScaler, allowing you to still use MAS as your centralized management system. So that could be the first step to basically convert your NetScaler automation scripts to make it MAS enabled, basically. And of course, MAS has its own Nitro engine. So I can also use REST API calls to address the MAS functions. For instance, creating the maintenance task that Carsten just showed us. Or using the configuration jobs. And in my case, I need to specify the different commands in the same way that Carsten did in the GUI. Because that's in the payload and that gets pushed to my NetScaler. Or the configuration packs using the style books that I previously imported on my NetScaler, or using Nitro to import the style books. And in this case, the style books basically are linked to that fill-out form. So if we're talking about the parameter sections, that is still linked to the different fields in that fill-out form. So I'm basically just specifying the values in my JSON payload. And last but not least, I also need to specify those NetScaler instances that I want to use. So that was really fast.
Much faster than me.
So let's see if I can get the demo working for me.
Esther, have you tried, can you deploy a MAS instance via Python? Have you tried that?
I tried that.
Importing it and creating it?
Yeah, because I know I created, or I have some scripts on my blog saying that you can import a NetScaler instance and give it a fixed IP address. I tried to do the same trick for MAS, but unfortunately, MAS still runs like a mini setup in the GUI, or in the console, thank you. So that doesn't work right now. That's another feature request I'm going to push. Because I would have expected it to just be able to do that. Let me just see if I can make the screen.
It's almost extended the session by half an hour.
Oh yes, no, just 4 minutes for the demo. So basically what I did is I wrote an entire script that will perform different steps. So due to time, so what I'm doing is I'm adding my NetScaler instances to MAS. That's the first step because I need to be able to address them with MAS. So that's still an easy part, but it's kind of quicker than, I'm sorry, it's kind of quicker than the typing that Carson did because I get very impatient. So I figured I could also do the HA pair configuration because that's a maintenance task. And luckily for me it says successful. So it was useful to rerun the scripts last night at 2 in the morning. And what you'll notice is now the target name of this NetScaler changed because MAS uses the combined IP addresses as the new target name to let you know that it created an HA pair. So the maintenance task was completed successfully. So that's another step you did, right?
Yeah, right.
Let me think, what else did we do? Configuration job. Whoa, that was fast. Hang on. I'm just teasing a little. So, configuration job was sent to the NetScaler. Let's check the details. Luckily for me, all 58 commands were implemented successfully. So I have my base configuration now on my NetScaler. But we also did something with style books, creating a configuration pack. So I kind of cheated because I created some new style books that will upload the certificates to my NetScaler because I'm doing an SSL configuration. So if all goes well, I now have a configuration pack on MAS. Going to applications configuration. So in my case I have 3 because I had to upload 2 certificates. And I cheated by using direct Nitro to even link the certificates together. And I have the entire configuration for the feed server. So if we double check, I think it will even work. Nope. So I have one more step, and that was a configuration job that runs through across multiple NetScalers. So basically it's doing the same certificates and then using a different style book with different variables and values to create a new configuration. So if we refresh this, and let me see if I can find the one, this one. So basically what I created was one style book that allows you to configure SSL offloading, which is the first part. Allows you to configure the settings you need for your application firewall, but also allows you to give the configuration for what they call presentation, which is the load balancing of the web servers. And you can add one or even multiple web servers to this dynamically. And also options to bind like monitors and stuff like that.
Esther?
Yes, I saw that. I was just gonna...
Yeah, just a quick question. It's run during to target or you enter the job as a scheduled task, but it's fired immediately.
Yes,
do you specify that?
That's what I specified. So I can also do a scheduled job, and then I need to do the epoch time formatting, but I can use a scheduled job for that as well. But right now I decided to do it all, to push it all immediately, because then it's more fun for the live demo.
She wants to use that on you.
Yeah. True.
That's true.
No, but basically, to get back to the remark regarding the target roles, what you see here is that I selected different NetScalers. Well, basically, I'm still using the same, but different NetScalers for the different roles that I specified. So I can now push configurations to the SSL offloading NetScaler, the AppV NetScaler, or a firewall NetScaler, and the load balancing NetScaler. And even allow for more roles that are optional in this case. So basically that was kind of what I wanted to show.
Yeah,
And
if you have different zones in your DMZ, like the front-end zone, and the load balancing zone, application zone, and stuff like this, you have multiple NetScalers in a row to load balance all the stuff and doing all the security stuff, and therefore we created the roles.
Okay. So if there are any more questions due to time and already consuming more than we were allowed, I would invite you all to find us outside and ask the other questions that you have. And thank you for attending our session.